Hello, welcome to Jumpstart Board Games. In this video, I'm going to be talking about all the board games I played in April 23. Now let's jump in.
Boing.
First up is Galapagos. I played this game a total of 3 times. This game is mostly a cooperative game. You're working together to try and get enough food and water to survive while you're building rafts so that you can get off the island. And everyone's working together to do this until there's not enough food or water. People start to turn against each other because of the limited resources. From previous plays of this game, I have a little bit of a bad reputation, so I've been trying to mend that reputation. It's not going too well. I've burned too many bridges, I think. But I did get a chance to play it with some new victims, and they got to experience how big of a slime ball that I can be. This game is continuing to prove itself as a valuable part of my collection. I've been keeping it in my bag and bringing it out quite often. People enjoy the game. It's very simple, easy to play, plays with tons of people. I love Galapagos, and I'm actually looking forward to getting the expansion. That's kind of on my radar as well. Wits and Wagers. I played this game twice in April, and it's a pretty simple trivia game, but also you're betting on the right answer. So, you could win the game and not get any answers correct. Of course, you are rewarded for getting the answers correct, but it's really has a lot more to do with betting and kind of knowing who to bet on. I did terribly both times I played this game. Did not do well at all with getting the answers or betting on the answers, but it's always a really good time. And everyone that I play with, they really enjoyed the game as well. All the rest of the games I only played once, and this next one is Seven Wonders Architects. This is a very basic drafting game where you're trying to build a wonder, you're building up a military, building up science, also just getting straight points through, I guess, culture thematically. This, of course, is kind of an offshoot of Seven Wonders, which is a drafting game. This game is a lot more beginner friendly because everything is open. It's all open information. So if anyone has any questions, it's not like in Seven Wonders where they have a handful of cards. And by them asking you a question, they could kind of be giving away too much information. Seven Wonders is really cool. They have the nice little plastic cases. You pull out the case, drop it in front of someone, and they have everything that they need to kind of get started with the game. This play went really well. I really enjoyed it. It's very kind of relaxing, soothing game for me at this point. Not to mention I didn't have to teach it, so that always makes things a little bit more relaxing, even though it's not a very difficult teach at all. I was really expecting this game to be more popular than what it was. I think it kind of seems like maybe it was a little bit of a flash in the pan, at least in the people that I've seen playing. But I really enjoy it. I have no intention of getting rid of this game just because of its versatility as far as something that's beginner friendly, but still has a little bit going on. And I really enjoy Seven Wonders Architects, and I plan on keeping it in my collection. Next up is Agropolis. This is a kind of a city building game. The game only consists of 18 cards. It's kind of a little wallet game. It's a very difficult game. I had a hard time playing it. It's one of those games where you're trying to consider adjacencies. This thing is beside that thing. And also, there are multiple scoring kind of qualifiers that you're looking at. There are two basic ways to score in the game, and then you have three scoring cards that are going to contribute to the score. And trying to consider all of those things as you're placing those cards, it's just my brain just can't handle it. This is a very difficult game. I think it's very impressive what it has in such a small package. I want to try it again. I want to give it another try. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier next time. I do think it's cool to have like a little small game you could throw in your pocket and carry around with you. This particular one just is difficult for me. Boxcars is a game where you are trying to establish train routes across the United States, and you are trying to accumulate money by making your way to different routes across the United States. So I'll go ahead and say we actually didn't finish the game because the person who was running the game thought that there was an app that was still available to make the game a bit easier. But unfortunately, that app was discontinued and we weren't able to find a replacement. You actually have to reference this very intimidating chart that has all of these different possibilities of where these routes can run from one place to another and how much money they're worth and all this stuff. I didn't look at it too much because I wasn't having to deal with it, but the person who was having to deal with it got to a certain point where they were like, It's going to take us all night to play this game, without the app." So we actually decided to just, call it quits. The game seemed really interesting, and I guess, I could probably go through a list of, different little things I didn't like about the game, but it really sparked my interest, and I would really love to get a chance to play this game again. Hopefully there's an app for it somewhere. I'm gonna look around and see what I can find. If any of you guys are aware of this app or a replacement for it, please let me know in the comments, because I think that would be very helpful for me and the person who taught the game, because they were really disappointed because they really liked the game. They hadn't had a chance to play it in a long time, and now that the app doesn't exist, it was kind of crushing for them. Carcassonne is a city building tile placement game, where you're trying to place tiles so that you can place your meeples on those tiles to kind of claim certain features, that are kind of forming. Everyone's working together to build. Well, it's not a cooperative game, but you're all collectively building this area, that's comprised of multiple roads and cities and fields and all that stuff. I played this game with someone who had like the big box with like 11 expansions in it. And it's the first time I played it in a while. I thought it was interesting to know that in the base game now they don't include the farmer as a part of the base rules. This made it a lot easier to teach and play the game. I think that was probably a good call to pull the farmer out of the base game. However, the people that I played with, once I explained the farmer to them, they were really fascinated and looked forward to playing with the farmer. So I think we're going to include that next time we play. I had no idea there were so many expansions for this game. The box is enormous, and it was just so weird seeing such a small game in such a huge box. I also have the game in my collection. It's one that I plan on keeping in my collection because I think it's a really good one for people who are new to the game, or even board gamers who've never played that game before. I think it's a cool one just to play at least once. Dead by Daylight. It is a one versus mini game where most of the people are working together to try and survive the attacks, I guess, of another player, a single player who is playing kind of like a bad guy, who's trying to come after everyone else. So we're kind of running around the board, trying to stay away from this person, keep them from harming us, hiding, distracting, anything we can do. I really enjoy one versus many games. The few that I've played, I haven't played that many, but I really like the Spectre Ops, which is more of like, hide and seek sort of hidden movement game, but it's still kind of one versus many. And I really like Attack on Titan, which is a one versus many game. So this was really cool also. I'm not familiar really much at all with the video game, but it felt pretty thematic to me. It seems like there are a handful of different bad guys in this game, so there's a lot of variability there. I would definitely like to play this game again, and it kind of sparked my interest in the video game as well. Flux. Yucks. Okay, I mean, the game's pretty popular. It's gotta be popular for a reason. There must be something there. Um, I played it, this my big accomplishment with this play is I played it and I didn't complain the entire game, which is incredibly challenging for me. But I didn't do it. No offense to anyone who likes that game. I can kind of see the appeal, just not for me. Glory, a game of knights. In this game, you are doing worker placement to try and build up your knight and your horse, and try to get enough strength so you can win this tournament. I recently found out that we played a rule wrong, which would surely change a lot of things in the game. I still thought it was a pretty neat game. It did kind of remind me of Warhammer a bit, where you're kind of rolling and re-rolling and re-rolling. The game, I do love when a board game teaches me something, and it did teach me the word bardage, which is horse armor, I guess. One cool thing about the game is it felt pretty open. It didn't feel like very tight and restrictive. I felt like I could kind of, do the things that I wanted to do. If a worker placement spot was taken, I would just go do something else. And I definitely felt like I had some freedom to kind of make my own decisions. Just One. This is a cooperative game where one person is trying to guess a word and everyone else is trying to give them clues. And the key part of the game is any clue that is written down, if it's the same as some another clue that someone has written, it's going to be taken out of the game. So you want the clues to be obvious enough so that the person can guess the word. But if it's too obvious and another person wrote it, then it's going to get removed from the game. I've played this one a ton of times. It's a big hit with certain groups. It's gotten to the point with one group where we're almost like too good at the game. And I think we might need to start adding some other things to it to be a little bit more complicated. I really like playing this game and showing off my spelling skills. Not many people know that about me, but I am a very proficient speller. We do play this game with a house rule that I came up with. I have a token in there for every player. I give every player a token, and you can cash that token in once per game to change the word that the guesser chooses. So maybe there's like a funny word, or you've got a good clue for one of the words, and the guesser doesn't pick that number. Cash in your token, and you can pick what the word is. King Domino. So my local friendly game store happened to have a King Domino tournament, and I showed up early, and I was ready to go, and I was all hyped up, and nobody showed up. Um, Luckily, someone actually did just play a game with me while I was out there. Out of pity, I guess they felt bad for me. And I ended up losing that game, so I probably wouldn't have done too good in the tournament anyway. So maybe it was a good thing. I love King Domino. It's a very simple game. The first few times I played it, I didn't really like it because I thought it was just way too simple. But with a lot of simple games, the more I played it, the more I started to see kind of the hidden depth in the game. It's a lot of fun, very simple on the surface sort of game with a little bit of depth to it. One category that this game falls into that a lot of games don't is it's a great game to play outside. You don't really have to worry about cards or light pieces blowing away. Those tiles are fairly chunky. And as a matter of fact, I have played this game outside on a nice sunny day, and it was very enjoyable. Letter Jam is a cooperative word game. In the game, everyone's starting off with like a deck of like 5 cards, and those cards spell out a word that their neighbor picked out for them and shuffled up and handed them. And basically, you're putting the card out in front of you, facing everyone else where you can't see it. And basically, people are taking turns creating words with all the cards that are facing out by putting numbered tokens in front of them. I taught this game and I thought I basically understood the gist of it, but it turns out I didn't know the game as well as I thought I did. And people I play with kind of gave me a little bit of a hard time. Thanks. But no, it was fine. It was just joking. But I can definitely see the potential in the game, even though we played it wrong. I'd love to play this one again. Because I am such a great speller, I love the opportunity to play word games. And I'm not a huge cooperative fan, but games like this, that aren't kind of the traditional sort of cooperative games, I really enjoy. I like the idea that the more you play it, the better you can get at being proficient, and I guess more economical about the clues that you're giving to try to get the most out of every clue that you give, so everyone can get as much information as possible. We also only played it with a few people, so I'd like to see it played at a higher player count as well. I think that would change the game a lot. Lost Legends. This is a drafting game where you're trying to build up enough strength from weapons and defense from armor and shields and maybe some other items to help you out so that you can defeat as many monsters as possible. This game has really nice artwork and it's, fairly unique. I haven't played too many games like this. I will say that for what it is and what it does, it seems a little long. Um, Maybe, playing it again, when there aren't so many new players. We played it with 3 new players that contributed to it. I would really like to see it almost like cut in half. If the time of the game could be cut in half, that would be great. I think it took us, I mean, game night is like 4 hours. Yeesh, there's no way we played it that long. But that's the only game we played that night. We got started a little bit late, but it took us at least 3 hours to play that game, and that's ridiculous. 3 hours is way too long for this game, in my opinion. Cool game, but I don't want to play it that long. Love Letter is a hand management game, I guess. I played it last month. I played it again this month. I still don't exactly get it. I guess it's a game, like, the more you play it, you kinda understand it more. I just don't get it. We did only play the game with 3 players, which I'm sure isn't ideal. It's probably better with more players. And I know there's gotta be some strategy in the game. I just you only have 2 cards, and you're always getting rid of a card. So I just don't quite understand the strategy of it yet. My Shelfie, it's kind of a optimized putting things beside other things sort of game. You have certain goals where you want certain tiles to align in certain positions. You want certain tiles to touch other tiles in a certain grouping. I guess as you say, it's kind of a tile placement game. But the cool thing about the game is you're dropping everything into little slots, kind of like a Connect Four game. That being said, of course, it gets bonus points for the components. And speaking of the components, one of my favorite things to do is to drop the tiles in all which away, so they're facing upside down, left, right, any way but the correct way. And the people I play with just love that. The gameplay is really simple. Anybody can play the game, but the interesting thing is there is a lot of depth trying to optimize every placement. Generally speaking, you want to draft as many of these tiles from the center as you can, um, but you may not be getting the colors that you want. So you're trying to balance between getting the right colors in the right places and getting as many tiles as you can. Planet. This is another kind of tile placement game. The interesting gimmick of this game is you're playing with like a little planet, and it has magnetic sides. I guess it's like a dodecahedron or something. Maybe not. I don't know. It's 12 sides, I think. No, 20. Wait, how many sides is it? So all the tiles are magnets, and you're drafting these tiles one round after the other. You pop it on there, and then certain rounds there are certain animals that like certain types of terrain based on the size of the terrain or what kind of terrain that terrain is touching. So you're looking at your planet, you're comparing it to your opponents, and whichever planet is the best for that animal is going to want to live on your planet. This is a really cool game. Very simple. Whatever you do, don't drop your planet like I did, or if you're losing, do drop your planet, and then you can just start over. This is a relatively simple game. Some of the ties can be a little difficult, especially as you get more tiles on your planet and you're having to, put your finger on stuff and rotate it around. It can get a little tricky, but I really like the components in the game, and it's really fun and it's got great table presence. So those are all the games that I played in April 23. I'm really looking forward toward May 25th, which is going to be the kickoff for Board Games at the Beach here in Wilmington, North Carolina. I plan on playing a ton of games there. So hopefully my May recap is going to be just full of games. I think I'm going to try to do some content out at the convention, maybe some vlogs, possibly some, little interviews or something. I don't know. But I just don't get the opportunity to go to a lot of conventions. This is a really small convention, but I just kind of want to make the most of it. If you like my t-shirt, I'm currently running a 25% off sale on all of my merchandise at jumpstartboardgames.com. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And if you're going to the convention, leave a comment in the comments section and let me know you're going to be there.